Hello, everyone. Welcome to my mini lecture. Today, we're going to solder the microcontroller main control module according to the soldering work plan. The teaching objective is to assemble a complete microcontroller main control module circuit according to the process requirements for the electronic products. The teaching key point is to complete the assembly of the circuit independently according to the circuit diagram. The teaching difficult point is the soldering of components. Please first check the tools and device materials to be prepared before class. Then prepare the components according to the component list. After testing, all the above components can be used normally. Next, we will begin soldering. During the operation, we should observe the safe electricity regulations. First, we will proceed with soldering the resistor. Correctly insert the resistor into the PCB according to the resistance value before soldering. Next, we will solder the diode. Insert the diode into the correct position on the PCB for soldering, ensuring the correct polarity. The white edge on the component should align with the white edge of the component symbol on the PCB. Solder the non-polarized capacitor. Insert the capacitor correctly according to its capacitance value before soldering. Solder the crystal oscillator. Insert the crystal oscillator into position Y1 on the PCB for soldering. Solder the microcontroller base. Insert the microcontroller base into position you want on the PCB, aligning the notch on the base with the corresponding notch symbol on the PCB, and then proceed with soldering. Solder the LED. Be aware of the polarity. LED pins are long positive and short negative. Solder the button. Before soldering, first confirm the positions of the 4 pins of the button and then carry out the soldering process. Solder the electrolytic capacitor. Correctly insert the capacitor according to its capacitance, making sure to distinguish between the positive and negative leads before soldering. Solder the pin header. Insert the pin header into the correct position for soldering. Solder the LCD base. Solder the self-locking switch. Determine the positions of the 6 pins of the self-locking switch before installation and soldering. Solder the terminal block. Insert the terminal block into the correct positions on the PCB, with the connection port facing the outer side of the PCB, then solder it in place. Finally, insert the LCD screen and the microcontroller correctly into their respective bases. Install screws at the 4 corners of the circuit board to complete the installation. After installation, check for any missed solder joints, cold solder joints, or incorrectly soldered components. Through this lesson, we have gained a certain understanding of soldering PCBs. 1. The sequence for soldering components on the circuit board is to start with the shorter components before the taller ones, and smaller components before larger ones, ensuring that the installation of previous components does not interfere with subsequent installations. 2. After inserting components, their markings should face in a direction that is easy to read, preferably in a left-to-right sequence. 3. Polarized components must be installed strictly according to the polarity requirements shown on the schematic diagram to avoid incorrect installation. 4. Through-hole components without heat dissipation requirements should be closely attached to the circuit board. Those with heat dissipation requirements should be suspended about 5 mm above the board. That's the end of this lesson. Thank you for watching.